How's it going, all? It's time for a Resident Evil Death Island movie review. I haven't done these for a while, and I wanted to tell you guys what I thought about the movie and overall review of if it's any good for you guys to watch it, or is it a movie you should just skip? It's not for the fans, or it's not any fun, or it's not even good at all. I'll let you guys know in this review. So let's get started. All right, so first all, the movie is finally out. It's on DVD. It was in the movie theaters, selected theaters in America, probably in Japan and other countries as well. You can now get it on DVD, maybe on other streaming platforms. It should be out sooner or later. Resident Evil Death Island. This is a new Japanese CGI movie, animated movie by other Resident Evil projects before, like Vendetta, and that was the last one they did. And then there's a couple ones before that. They do these CGI animated movies. They're very cheesy. They can be very fun here and there. But for some reason, this one was really, really good, guys. I want to tell you, if you are a Resident Evil fan and you are keeping up with all the media, the games, movies, and all that, this won't disappoint you. But there is some disappointments here and there. I'll tell you guys later about those. But first, let's get started. It's a movie for the fans. Most likely, it is very, very for the fans. Everything about this movie is a lot of fan service, a lot of things that make it acceptable as a movie that happened in the games, showing us that they care about the story continuing on, as well as, you know, bringing back some older characters, fan favorites, and bringing up more lore into into the movie. I don't want to get really into it yet, but that will be for the spoilers later. I'll let you guys know for that one. Right now is just my overall thoughts. So my thoughts of the movie: very fun movie. It's for the fans. I highly recommend it. It has the cheese, as Resident Evil always has. It has a lot of action and adventure and mystery in there to solve what is going on. But in total, the horror element is not really there. I'll tell you why later in the spoilers. But it has some horror elements here and there, just not heavy in the horror department. But it is a Resident Evil Avengers sort of. If you're thinking about it, yes. People have been saying this is the Avengers of Resident Evil. Like Resident Evil 6 was for the games. They brought back a bunch of characters, come together to defeat the big baddie. It's that kind of movie. It has the cheese. It has the fun moments. It's pretty funny here and there. The action is insane. Some John Wick stuff here and there. Very cool. Same like they did for Vendetta. Sort of like that. But if you haven't watched these movies before, I highly recommend checking them out. They're not that bad compared to the live action movies. 1 and 2 is pretty decent, but after that, 3 and onward, not so much for Resident Evil. And don't even talk about the show. The show was absolutely catastrophe of what happened. They butched Resident Evil so hard in the show, in the Netflix show. And yeah, it's a disappointment. But this movie, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It is a really good movie. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's not gonna win anything big, but for the fans, this is definitely a plus for Resident Evil. Resident Evil has been killing it recently in the game department for Capcom, and now this could make it more to that point where they could start making more of these CGI movies and actually hitting it out of the park, you know? It's for the fans. No one's probably going to watch this movie, only if you're a huge Resident Evil fan. A casual person can, but to be honest, it's for the Resident Evil fans out there. And now I'm going to go into spoiler territory here for you guys. It's up there for you guys. If you want to come back, you can when the spoiler alert's gone, or turn off the volume. It's up to you what you guys want to do during this point. The movie starts out very interesting. The movie starts out with one of the soldiers from Umbrella. They try to stop the people from crossing during Raccoon City when they had the big outbreak. Dylan, I think his name's Dylan or something. He was one of the people. He was kind of like a hunk, not special ops, but like just one of the random Umbrella soldiers that was tasked to stop anyone that's zombie from crossing. His whole infantry got destroyed, and he's the only survivor, and you know, it messes him up over the years. You start with that flashback, and then you get a montage of Jill infiltrating this sort of house, kind of old school Resident Evil, fights a zombie, and then Chris shows up, and a lot of that stuff. You see Jill. Jill is literally the main character of this movie. She is center point, which I love. I love myself some Jill Valentine. She's one of my favorite Resident Evil characters, and they reference a lot of things from Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, of those things. There's a lot of conversations with Chris, all the characters together: Chris, Jill, Claire, Rebecca, Leon. They all come together. It starts with the Alcatraz Island in San Francisco, where something goes wrong, so they go there to investigate this new kind of virus that has happened. And yeah, that's where everything goes to the crapper. And this is where the movie kind of piqued my interest, because the zombies didn't get bit. It's not through saliva or getting bit by the zombies. People just randomly turned out of nowhere. And it kind of interested me. I'm like, what can it have been? You know, through the movie, you're just questioning what is what is activating these zombies through the movie. And then you find out that it was actually like a mosquito drone that injects it into people's necks and stuff, so they'd start turning over time. They turn into zombies. It can be controllable, also DNA and all that. Very controllable. Dylan created these. The character, yes, the guy who survived that Umbrella takeover, he was one of the people. He's the main villain. He has a cane. He has all these weird things. He starts playing Russian roulette with his gun, trying to kill himself, and weird stuff like that. And then they brought also like a second in command for the other bad guy is Marina, I think. She's the blonde girl from Vendetta. She escapes. It's revenge for her death of her father from the last movie. So they do kind of a thing where, they are teaming up together. And talking about the main villain, Dylan is very a ripoff of a lot of other scientists from Umbrella that want to do the same thing. Kind of a ripoff of Albert Wesker to me, personally. He felt very... he just had the same kind of ideologies he was going to do, where everyone needs to be judged. You know, everyone is bad, and there's no good. People think they're doing good are actually bad, and stuff like that. Like, he was kind of like doing the thing that Albert Wesker was thinking of. Interesting points there, but as a whole, a villain is kind of he was very smart in how he wanted to take down all the characters. He was messing with their heads, but in the long run, he was kind of weak in that point of view. And, you know, like every other end of the Resident Evil game, he becomes a big monster at the very end. And they all team up, all the characters, to defeat the big monster. And that's how the movie ends. But between that, the conversations with the characters were really good. Some funny moments here and there. And characters sort of develop, but mostly they're just there for action. It's interesting. I really like it. Is kind of like an Avengers moment when they all come to defeat the last boss, Dylan as the monster, as the virus. And it is very, very cool. They all team up. They have their own specific things they can do to destroy or defeat the monster at the very end, so it doesn't go out into the world, because it starts infecting with the mosquitoes. It's very, very cool part of the movie. Crazy CGI. The movements were all right. Like, in all, like, Jill was the middle point of the movie, like I said. But Jill, I felt like she could have been improved more. She felt very centered, which I understand because, you know, Resident Evil 5, she was brainwashed by Albert Wesker, and she can't, you know, she can't trust herself no more and the others around her. She just wants to be, you know, in isolation. Makes sense. But the thing is, I don't know why they reused her model from Resident Evil 3. They could have changed a bit more on there. And I don't know why they used the same hair. They could have made her hair longer or something, just to change it up a bit. Like, years have passed since Resident Evil 3, and they could have done more with that character. I don't know. Maybe they're like, we should just leave it as is, because maybe the fans would be upset if we changed it a lot more. I don't think so. I think it would have been cool if she had longer hair, or she kept it blonde. I wouldn't have been mad either. Or maybe she, like, dyed it back. Something. I don't know. Just to explain what is going on, because it didn't make no sense. And they never explain it, ever, in the movie. Same when Jill meets Leon. So when Jill meets Leon in the sewers, Leon's just randomly there because he's trying to find from Hunnigan. This professor is making these mosquitoes, I guess, or something, these things. And there was a whole chase in the beginning where Leon has this crazy motorcycle chase. It's super cool looking. Fights off Marina, whatever her name is, the blonde chick from Vendetta. And they have this cool fight scene through the streets on a highway on a motorcycle. It's super cool. But that's the last time you see Leon until Jill falls into the sewers where they're on the island, and he just starts fighting Leon. And then they're like, Leon, is that you? And then Leon's like, oh, is that you, Jill? Oh, cool. And I was like, whoa, this should be a moment where they're not trusting each other at all. Because Jill never met Leon ever in the video games. They never glanced. They never talked about each other. They never did anything. Jill knows mostly probably the other, even I don't think Claire, I don't know if Jill, maybe Chris has mentioned Jill to Claire, but Leon was never mentioned to Jill ever. So this moment was very, it felt very forced, and they could have did something about that, and it really upset me. That one kind of did upset me. They could have done a little bit more with the introduction of Leon and Jill as characters together, because you never see them together ever. And a lot of people now, because of this movie, they're talking about wanting Jill and Leon team up, which I'd be all down for. That's pretty dope. I would be cool. And I just want I want Jill to be in the game and be center, be one of the main characters again in some way. Could be with Chris, could be with Leon, could be with Claire, could be Rebecca. I don't know. I just want Jill somewhere there. Could have been with Ada. Or Barry. That'd be cool too. One of those could be cool. They could have had that in there. But yeah, it was kind of weird. I did not understand that at all. Kind of made me be like, nah, they could have worked more on that. Come on, just a little bit more. That's what I said. They could have added more into this movie, but it was just go, 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 go. Like one after another adventure, like action, 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 action. The story needs to continue. Go, 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 go. And I understand that. It's a movie. It's only like an hour and a half movie. And they could only fit so much. And probably the CGI and all that. Well, let me tell you about the CGI in this movie, guys. Animations are fantastic. They're really well done. Sometimes they look super realistic. The faces, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, like ears, hair, everything looks super realistic. I thought Final Fantasy VII Advent Children was top notch for its time when it came out, that CGI animation, but no, this one just beats it now by far. It looks like a video game cutscene, but crazier. Like when they're parkouring, when they're jumping, it's super cool looking. The voice actors were phenomenal. I love bringing back all the characters. They brought back the OG Leon from 4. They brought back Jill from the remake, Claire from the remake. They brought back Chris from Vendetta and Rebecca from Vendetta, which is fine. But they could have used my favorite Chris, where Chris is like, you know, from RE5 and 6. I love that Chris. He's pretty much a Chad and so funny. But he was a Chad in this movie too, Chris. So he's always a Chad. So is Leon. But love old Leon coming back, the voice actor. I do like the new Leon too. I'm not saying he's bad. He's good too. So I wouldn't mind either one. Everything was good about that. The villain, kind of lacking. It's all right villain, but could have been better, you know? Yeah, so they defeat the monster, and then pretty much Chris is like, we're glad you're back, Jill. And they get like, you know, pounded, and then they go into the sunset. The helicopter comes and picks them all up. That's how the movie ends. Really good movie. The CGI animations were really well done. A cinematography of the landscapes and all that looked super realistic in some shots, but not all the time. It looked decent enough. The audio design was okay. The music, I can't even think about the music. No music that was memorable at all. Kind of disappointing. They could have used some kind of cool, eerie music, but I just can't remember the music, to be honest. It's very actiony, as I said. Less of the horror elements in there, but it is very, very good. Should a Resident Evil fan watch it? Yes, they should. But I think that's pretty much it for the spoiler talk. There's not really much spoilers, just in case, you know, the bad guy dies. We already know that. And the blonde girl dies too. So they both die. And then, you know, the heroes win. Easy story. Simple enough. It's a fun ride. It's not too long. Just perfect enough. Good stuff. Good movie. I was worried about this movie when it first came out. You know, I thought it was going to be bad, but it was pretty good. So let's end that for the spoiler talk. Let's get everyone back in here. Spoilers is over now. Welcome back. All right. Overall, what did I think about this movie, guys? If you're a Resident Evil fan, watch this movie. I highly recommend watching it for real. This is a good movie. Great action, great adventure, great mystery. Or a little bit lacking, but it's there. Great characters, fan characters, Avenger style. What can you say? Fan service. Everything's there. It's not too forced either. It's perfect enough. Just a little bit here and there. Not too crazy. It's a great 1 hour and a half minute. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I highly recommend it. Overall, I'd probably give it a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10.
Thanks.
7.5, probably 7.5. It's not as bad. It's definitely one of the better CGI animated movies from the 4, and definitely better than the show, and definitely, in my opinion, better than the movies, Resident Evil movies. Some people love 1 and 2. They say, oh, it's the best one, everything. It's still good. It has potential. This one is better than those. Of course, it's nothing going to be better than the games. The games are always going to be better. Overall, you know, they're going to be the best ones. Just play the games. Overall, this movie is a must-watch for any Resident Evil fan. And if you're just not a Resident Evil fan, just a casual person watching this movie, I still recommend you watch it. You're still going to have a fun time, even if you don't know the characters. There's that action element to it, and zombies, you know, fighting the zombies and all that. That could maybe be like, oh, this is an interesting, you know, take of what's happening. You know, never know. There's some weird stuff in this movie. I didn't mention that in my spoiler, but something with a tongue, and it's a little sus. There's a part with tongue and Jill.
A little rough, don't you think?
It's kind of sus. All right, guys, I'm not gonna tell you anymore. I don't want to spoil it, but that's what it is. Okay, it's out now on DVD, guys. Check it out. I hope you enjoyed this review. You know, everything about it. Until the next time, guys, have a good one. Till the next review. See you guys.